Hello everyone, thank you for tuning into Vidiot Entertainment Studios for this episode of Vidiot Movie Reviews. I'm the Nerd Lust Daddy, and today we continue our series reviewing every North American released live-action video game film adaptation. And today's movie is the sequel to one we've previously reviewed. So, today we present to you our review of 2003's Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. Now this should be a quick one, as you all already know what to expect from the games and this film, based on the previous movie and our review. So let's jump into this. Pids, you ready?
Sure, NLD.
Let's get into it then. Now, Cradle of Life was released in theaters on July 25th, 2003. Apparently another expected summer blockbuster here, but we'll see. Now up to this point we'd seen Tomb Raider, Tomb Raider 2, Tomb Raider 3, Tomb Raider The Last Revelation, Tomb Raider for Game Boy Color, Tomb Raider Chronicles, Tomb Raider Curse of the Sword for Game Boy Color, Tomb Raider The Prophecy, and Tomb Raider The Angel of Darkness released. We can once again use all of these for comparison, as they all deal with traveling around the globe in search of some ancient artifact while injecting action-adventure sequences, and the film itself is, once again, not directly based on any of them. As for the plot, you know the drill here. In the games, Lara ends up traveling the world in an attempt to find some ancient artifact that can give its wielder some sort of immense power. She either does this of her own free will and interest, or due to being hired by someone. Now during the journey, she usually ends up being betrayed in some combination by either the person who hired her and or some longtime acquaintance that she is working with or ends up coming across during her adventure. This film revolves around the legend of the Luna Temple, the temple that was built by Alexander the Great to house his most prized treasures. Off the coast of Greece, on what must be the Mediterranean Sea, Lara meets up with her fellow explorers and explains that she believes a recent earthquake that happened has uncovered the Luna Temple and that it's located underwater. At the same time, there are rival treasure hunters in the area also racing to discover the temple first. Lara and her crew suit up in scuba gear and head down underwater using diver propulsion vehicles. They end up discovering the temple, and while searching it, discover an orb that ends up being a map that shows the location of the Cradle of Life, which houses the fabled Pandora's box. Now, while searching the temple, they're ambushed by the rival treasure hunters, who are a part of the Chinese syndicate Sheridan. Lara's crewmates are killed, the orb is stolen, and Lara manages to escape. Back at Croft Mansion, members of MI6 arrive and inform her that the Sheridan were hired by a man named Jonathan Reese, who is a former Nobel Prize winner turned bioweapon arms dealer. They believe that he plans to locate Pandora's box and then sell it to the highest bidders in order to use it as a bioweapon by releasing the plague within that legends have spoke of. Lara agrees to help them recover the orb, but only under the condition that they release from prison Terry Sheridan, a former love interest and mercenary with connections to the Sheridan, in order to help her. Thus begins our globe-trotting action-adventure. Now, I really have no complaints here in regards to the plot, as the Tomb Raider games can happen anywhere in the world, and we get the usual search for an ancient artifact that can give its wielder immense power. This gets a hawoo from me here. Pids, what are your thoughts on the plot?
Hawoo!
What about setting and world representation? Yet again, we have fairly accurate representation. We see Croft Mansion and travel the globe to locations like Greece, China, and Africa. We see displays of Lara's archaeological, acrobatic, fighting, and weapons prowess. We get the antagonist searching for an artifact so they can use it for nefarious means. And we also get an old flame and or associate whose loyalty to Lara is questionable, and there is plenty of action-adventure like in the games. No complaints here, so this gets a hawoo as well. Pids, what did you think of the setting and world representation?
Hawoo!
Alright, what about the characters here? So here, like in the previous film, we have pretty much entirely original characters, so our analysis of them will be based on acting prowess and if they fit the archetype found within the games. Let's get into it and start with Chen Lo, played by Simon Yan. huge in the Asian film market. You may recognize him from Ip Man and Ip Man 2, or for those of us who have dipped deep into nerd and martial arts pop culture films, he played Dalsim in the Street Fighter II parody film Future Cop that also starred Jackie Chan. He puts on a good performance here as the leader of the Shaolin crime syndicate, and he comes off as menacing, cocky, and overconfident as a villain should. We also get a fairly good fight scene between him and Lara, and I found the portrayal to be believable, and he definitely gets a hawoo from me here. Pibbs, did you like Chen Lo?
Hawoo!
Sean, played by Till Schweiger, notable for such roles as Mark in SLC Punk and Sergeant Hugo Stiglitz in Inglourious Bastards. Here he's the leader of the mercenaries that work for Dr. Jonathan Reese. The portrayal is good as he comes off as cold and calculating, loyal to his boss, and as well as a competent marksman. Hawoo here from me. Pids, thoughts on Sean?
Hawoo!
Kosa, portrayed by Jaimin Hansu, known for his roles in films like Gladiator, Blood Diamond, and more recently as Korath the Pursuer in Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain Marvel, and the second episode of the Disney Plus series What If. Here he plays a longtime friend of Lara's that she contacts to assist her while she's in Africa in order for him to act as a guide and interpreter. Even though we get little screen time with him that is only during the third act of the movie, the performance is strong as expected from John. He has a good friendly banter with Lara and is portrayed in a strong and knowledgeable manner. Hawoo here from me. Pibbs?
Hawoo!
Bryce, played once again by Noah Taylor of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Game of Thrones fame. Again, he is the technical assistant that handles anything to do with technology for Lara. Not much has changed here as the performance still comes off as a believable tech head, though this time we get much less screen time with him than in the first movie. Still a hawoo from me though. Pids, did Bryce hold up for you as well?
Hawoo!
Hillary, played by Chris Berry, notable for his role in the series Red Dwarf, returns in his role from the first film as well. Here, the performance still holds up with the scene showing he is competent in combat, alluding to a professionally trained background, drawing from the butler character Winston Jeeves in the games. As with Bryce, we get reduced screen time compared to the first film, but the portrayal is still good here, so I can give him a hawoo. Pid's opinion this time on Hillary.
Hawoo!
Terry Sheridan, played by none other than Gerard Butler of 300 fame. Terry is the longtime friend and old flame who is a mercenary with ties to the Shaolin. As expected from Gerard, the performance here is strong. He comes off as confident, cocky, and competent as a combatant and marksman, and of course leaves us questioning from time to time, will he or won't he betray Lara? No doubt here that he gets a hawoo from me. Kids, did you like Terry?
Hawoo!
Dr. Jonathan Reese, here played by Ciaran Hinds, known for such roles as Steppenwolf in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and Aberforth Dumbledore in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. He's the Nobel Prize winner turned bioweapons arms dealer, attempting to find Pandora's box so that he can sell it as a weapon to the highest bidders. We have a very good performance here. He definitely comes off as power-mad, greedy, and lacking in any ethics, let alone concern or value for human life. He's a great antagonist to Lara, and he gets a hawoo from me. Kids, thoughts on Jonathan?
Hawoo!
Lara Croft, once again played by the charismatic Angelina Jolie. We still have a very strong performance here that screams she is Lara Croft. The look is good, and we have plenty of opportunities to see her display her archaeological, combat, and marksmanship prowess. She definitely comes off as the strong, take-no-guff Lara, just like in the first film, and I have no hesitation in giving her a strong hawoo here again. Piggles, did Laura bring it for you once again as well?
Hawoo!
Alright, let's go into final verdicts here. This is a competent follow-up with some good performances, but does it exceed in the original in any meaningful ways? Let's check in with the Pids first.
Chit futter compared to the first film. Him's average at best.
I gotta agree with the Pids here. It is kind of a chit futter. The plot works within the universe, the set pieces are good, and the performances leave little complaint at all. My main problem with it is that the action sequences are absolute trash. They are plagued with overuse of slow motion. Seriously, there has to be 4 to 6 moments at least of slow motion in every single action sequence. It doesn't enhance things at all and is completely distracting, which just ruins a third of the movie. The most I can give this is a 5Z out of 10Z. No need to rush out and watch this unless you're a huge Tomb Raider fan, Angelina Jolie fan, or saw the first movie and insist upon having to see what happens next. As usual, I want to thank you all for tuning into Vidiot Entertainment Studios for this episode of Vidiot Movie Reviews. If you enjoyed our video, please be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share to show your love. As always, I'm the Nerdlust Daddy, reminding you all to not be chit futters to each other. Body autonomy for all, reproductive rights for women, and peace, love, and happiness to all. Kids, take us out.
Bye bye, everyone.